A LexisNexis survey showed that American workers are spending an average of 15.9 hours per day on email, internet, and IM. Technology and media are dominating our lives in ways never before, and internet addiction rehab centers are popping up. Why does it take a warning from the Surgeon General in order for us to disconnect from technology? On this episode of Five Across, we'll look at technology overload and how people can disconnect from technology and find balance.
So this is so much talk about virtual relationships, and sort of a passé concept of virtual reality is that the word virtual means almost like approximating, sort of, but isn't the real thing. And I think, for example, that people use technology to escape from life because it gives them a feeling of being connected, but it's not really deep, deep connection. And I just actually had a post on computerworld.com where I talked about the effects, how I define life. And for me, life is getting dirty, it's imperfect, it's messy, there's disorder, and the nature of technology is embodied. It is embodied, exactly. And I use the expression of getting hip deep in life. And technology is by definition fairly linear. It's perfect in a way, in terms of the creation of the different technologies. And I'm really concerned about technology getting so much ahead of us that it drives us instead of we driving technology.
I work remotely.
I think we're fundamentally still animals. I mean, we like to think we're these incredibly evolved Max Headrooms, if you get that reference, a little old. And there's so much that goes into a relationship. That good imitation. That goes into a relationship that you simply can't create, even in video conferencing. Obviously, by email, texting, twittering, there's not simultaneous communication. Also, facial expressions, voice intonation, body language, pheromones. For anybody who's tried online dating, you know that you build up these expectations about a person, then you finally meet them, and it's like they're a totally different person. And so there's just something lacking. Does that mean that online relationships can't be positive and interesting? Of course not. But there's something, in my view, fundamentally lacking. And another aspect of that as well in relationships is that online relationships are totally safe. You can just click delete, click close. What proportion of tweets or texts are things that people are glad they actually sent versus they regret sending? Because I think one of the problem with this need for speed and technology now is that we don't have time to reflect. And all you have to do is hit that button versus I need to fold it, I need to put it in an envelope, I need to put it in the mailbox. And I'm not suggesting we go back to snail mail in many ways. But I think the issue of reflection is a bit of certainly a problem, because the great thing about this communication technology is that we can get information out there really quickly, which is a powerful tool. In Tehran, in Beijing, all over the world, it's informing us. But it's also become a weapon where people are putting things out there that aren't true. Well, there's the profound psychological and social ramifications of technology. And I think what's unfortunate is that our technology has developed so quickly in such a short time. I mean, 15 years ago, they developed this thing called email, and now it's downright primitive. And it's developed so quickly that we haven't been able to step back and say, what are the implications of this technology on our lives? And some of my greatest concerns are, as Leaf suggested, is what happens with the connection in technology, and how does it affect our disconnection from life? When there's the cyber attack on Twitter, and I read some accounts of it where people were talking about panic, about anxiety. And technology is neither good nor evil, helpful or unhelpful, healthy or unhealthy. It depends upon how we react to it. And I think the key issue ultimately is, how does it impact our lives? Does it affect our relationships? Does it affect our physical health? Does it affect some level of balance in our lives? And in any kind of issue where there's an absorption in something, in this case technology, the key issue is it detrimental to other aspects of my life? What happens is our expectations have changed. It used to be that, if we could reach somebody by phone, this was obviously in prehistoric times, it was an amazing thing. So anything else, everything else was a step up. Now the expectation is every moment we'll be in touch. And I have to be in touch, because if I don't, I'm going to miss something. And
FOMO, fear of missing out, is what my friend calls it.
Very good. Very good. I call it technoholics, and I think people can get into that. And that's probably some psychologists who study internet addiction don't feel it's an actual disorder, but it's a manifestation of some other disorders, that it doesn't deserve to be along with alcoholism and drug abuse and so on. But I think what's most interesting in terms of development of technology is that I know that certainly the developers use neuroscientists to figure out how the brain processes information and so on. But I think developers need to hire psychologists, sociologists, anthropologists who can sit back and say, how is this going to affect us? Because I'm a huge believer in the law of unintended consequences. And so you have this great idea. We can communicate instantaneously 140 characters. How is that going to affect our lives? Back to the question, we can't stop technology. It's going to happen. So it's not a matter of whether we have it or not, allow it to be developed. It's a matter of whether we examine as it's developed the ramifications of it, and then during the course of the use, we figure out how to use it as a tool and not a weapon. Because, that's going to come. The ability to just be able to go online in your brain. Instead, you can tweet by thinking. That's going to happen. It's going to happen.